Hi there. Somebody was supposed to remind me, but I'm better than last time. Okay, I'm going to unmute all of you. Now, I would like to hear from you if you have something to share about where you are or about how or how not that spoke to where you might have been. So let's see some raised hands or hear some feedback.
No.
Anybody? Hi, Betsy.
How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
I can't remember where to find my raised hand on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So that spoke to me perfectly. My sister and I are really kind of in the same place right now about not feeling safe in the world and just being exhausted from facing disappointment after disappointment in our lives. And not feeling safe with love, with profession, and just being really out there in the world with people. So just going into the heart space just now reminded me again of where I am with my wound about love and safety with love. And yeah, I found that part of me kind of laughing about, yeah, you think you're going to get me out of here. So this couldn't have come at a more perfect place. And I'm looking forward to the experience and sharing what I've learned with my sis.
Good. Absolutely. Great. Anybody else?
Well, I have something.
Yes.
This is Debbie. You know, there are no accidents. I've been working so hard on my heart for like the last year. I've had a lot of hurt in there, not just from younger years. And so what I found is, you know, I'm one of these people that's like, when I give with everything I have, because I don't know how to do it differently. So then when I shut down, I don't know how to not shut down everything at the same time. And so I'm kind of in limbo with this. And I'm, you know, my lessons with my teacher that I've been working on is to not be so hard on myself. And so this was very perfect and very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else? Lee.
Well, when you started this, I swore that you were specifically talking to me. So it sounds like I'm not alone in that feeling, because I've shared with you that I have a difficult time getting out of my head into my heart.
Right.
So practicing this stuff the last week, I mean, today actually was probably one of the best days I've had in a long time, with just confidence and feeling secure and safe around, you know, other people. I mean, I project a pretty badass image, you know.
Yeah, you do.
You know, because I mean,
I know.
But today it felt real in that sense of the actual breathing, and it felt pretty good about going into that heart and not immediately wanting to jump back into the head. So.
Oh, wow. Yay. That's huge.
Yes.
It's huge. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm telling you, I have my box of tissues here because I've been a blubbering mess for days. I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know, whatever. It's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. And I'll just say, I'll leave you unmuted, but if you're doing something that might, you know, rattle or move around or anything, just mute yourself so that we don't hear stuff, phones and noise and stuff. Okay, so one of the things that we can do, and so our hearts are listening here. Our hearts are listening to that from behind that closed door. Like, okay, all right, okay. One of the things that you can do to make the heart feel safe is to practice going in with gratitude. So dropping in with a very neutral, you know, you're just focusing on the heart with that microphone and breathing. You're just breathing. You're just looking at it and breathing. Don't expect anything from it. You're sitting on the outside of that closed door, just noticing and breathing. So what you can do, however, is think of something that made you feel good. Something to be grateful for, something that made you happy, something that felt yummy, a memory that felt good, and feel that in your heart. Feel that in your heart. So you think of something delicious and just kind of go into that memory, go into that sensation, and notice the feeling in your heart there. Are you able to feel that? And just, you know, feeling that, the joy of something simple, little, I don't know, the last time you had ice cream and just how good it tasted. And then let your heart notice that feeling. So once you, and your brain, so this is heart-brain stuff too, because as we talk about the heart, it's also the limbic system of the brain. That's why that vagus nerve thing is so important, because the fight, flight, freeze, and fold imprints of all those wounds and all that stuff is in the amygdala. And it's encoded there, and it remembers everything. And so when you give it something good to remember, it's like, oh, okay, then it's connected. It's connected. Because we really don't feel in our body, we feel with our brain. And so remembering that feeling, that yummy feeling, and then letting the brain take that, that's a safe little thing for the heart to do. It's like, okay, I'll give you that one. I'll take that. Okay, all right, I'll feel good with that. And then you just memorize it and breathe. And you can start then giving your heart some good stuff to work with. And that starts helping. And it starts feeling more comfortable to be down there. So play with that, because then once you memorize that feeling, that sensation, that, you know, conjuring up something to be grateful for, or something that felt good, then you almost don't need that anymore. You can drop right into the field. It's a morphic field. Remember I talked about morphic fields? It's a morphic field of gratitude. You can drop right into it, and your body says, oh yeah, I recognize that. And then it like starts feeling good. And the brain feels good, the heart feels good, you know, the blood pressure drops, all that good stuff. So playing with gratitude is a very good way to start this process. Okay. So soul contracts, and looking at your life, what we're going to do is look at your life as sacred curriculum. Instead of you having screwed it up so badly that you're stuck with this pile of crap that you call your life and with no way out, we're going to play with looking at it as sacred curriculum. So what we're here to do, well, no, I'm not going to put that in yet. So let's play. Remember last week, I think it was, that I talked about the word play and the word work. The word work hits your left brain, and it's got that duality to it. Right, wrong, good job, bad job, hard, get out of here as soon as I can, all that stuff. Failure, success, all that stuff. The word play carries none of that, and it hits you in your right brain. Feel it. Feel it. So we're just going to play with a scenario here. And I want you to use your imagination. And I want you to just go into what if? Why not this scenario? So we're going to go back to you as a soul before you came into this lifetime. And so we're just going to play with a scenario that that your soul is in this higher realm, in the heavenly realm, above this earthly plane. And so your soul is kind of maybe coming limping through the gate from having just completed a lifetime. And maybe it was a shortened lifetime, maybe it was a very long lifetime, maybe there was a long, slow, difficult process of releasing the body, or maybe it was an accident, whatever, that released this soul from the previous contract back into your natural habitat. And it's like, okay, so what did I learn in that lifetime? And then as you kind of rest and recover and process as a soul, what would I like to experience now? Because the soul is evolving. Our souls are growing and evolving because we are all headed back to the one source. We're all headed back to the one source. So there's constant upward evolution and motion and progress always. So the soul says, what do I want to experience now? What are the experiences I want to bring in to my whole field of knowing and understanding and sensing and realizing? What do I want to experience? What do I want to learn? And so the soul starts seeing what wants to be experienced in this lifetime, to be perhaps mastered. What curriculum? What course of study, like going back to get a degree in this, that, or the other thing. And so the soul starts creating a picture and a contract with divine mind, maybe, we don't know, of, okay, so this time I really want to experience and go through what it feels like not to be safe being who I am, so that I can come through it and learn what it means to feel safe just being me. Or maybe this time I want to know what it feels like to love with an open heart and to receive love fully, to feel worthy of receiving love. Maybe I want to learn what it's like to find my own voice, to learn that other people don't know necessarily better than I do, that I know just as much. My voice is just as valid. Whatever the scenario is, the soul creates a contract and starts setting up a lifetime in which that contract can be fulfilled. And so finding parents who could provide those lessons and that scenario of life that will allow this soul to experience exactly what it came in to experience, to move through and grow. So the experiences are sort of like word problems in math or case studies in graduate school. Does anybody really care how many miles to the gallon Joe Blow got on his drive to California? No. But you have to go through the steps in order to get the knowledge of how to do the problem. So it is with our souls. You go through the steps of birth, of dealing with wounded parents, of breaking away, of finding your own way, of experiencing all the experiences that we have each had in our own lives, on the way to waking up from them and graduating, getting the understanding that we came in to get. Now, there are many who have chosen not to evolve and not to grow, and maybe that's their contract in this lifetime. They have seemed to have given up, and maybe they'll have to come back. They'll be held back and repeat again. And then there are those of us. There are those of us who have pressed on, and we are now ready to retire that contract because we have stepped into the awareness that we came to get. We have learned to validate ourselves. We have learned to speak our truth. We have learned to open our hearts to not just give, but to receive, to feel worthy to receive. And at that point then, we are aware enough to be able to rewrite a new contract with that part of our soul that still exists beyond this realm of form. So in a way, it's a rebirth. It is a reincarnation without having to go through the forgetting and the baby stuff and the diapers and all that junk. And elementary school. Ugh. So we get to rewrite our contracts now once we see life as that. We get to look at what have been the themes of this lifetime. And am I complete with them? Enough to move on. Some fragments may show up, little things that show up, but they're minor. You can move on. What do I want to learn, to grow through, to experience, to achieve now? As I step into rewriting a contract, because I'm grown up and I'm graduated. So that's a scenario that if we can play with that, what if that's true? Why not? Do we have anything better? We have a better scenario to go with? There's a book, and Pam, you may have read it, called A Hit of Heaven. And it's just a little book. And it's one of those, it didn't exactly fall off the shelf, but this was, I don't know, 6 years ago now maybe. I was exploring Carlos Castaneda at the library, and I saw this book, A Hit of Heaven, and I thought, I've never heard of that title of his, but I thought, well, I'll pull it out. Didn't even realize it was a different author. And got my books home, and I sat down to look through what I had. I said, well, this isn't what I thought. And I looked through it to see and I thought, oh, this will be interesting. It's light, it's little. And I read it, honest to God, changed everything. So it gave me the opportunity to look at my life in a different way. Instead of beating myself up, instead of hammering away and beating down the walls of my heart, thrashing at that poor little wounded thing that was cowering, it showed me how to look at life in a different way. And it changed everything. And so we're going to look at our lives that way now, because it helps us to step back and be kind. Nobody learns through punishment. We learn through appreciation and approval. It's like, yeah, come on. It's that baby learning to walk again. As I said, the baby takes a step, you applaud it. You don't swat it on its bum for only taking one step. We do that to ourselves. And then we drive ourselves back into the closet again, and we wonder, why can't I just come out of this closet? Well, because every time I do, I get whacked on the head by myself. So we're going to start looking at our lives that way and stepping back now. What if that's the case? Can you take a step back and unplug for a moment? I mean, even sit back from yourself and your life. Look at it from that perspective. To the degree that you can, that is the degree to which your soul that exists, huge soul, it's infinite, is able to come in and work through the mechanism of your brain, your emotions, your mind, and start reprogramming you. bringing forth that which we so long for, which is wholeness, healing, that abundance, that being able to be authentic and real and not being afraid of what that might look like. So we're just playing with that now. We're just introducing it to the brain. So we're not forcing the brain to accept this as fact. We're not forcing your brain to say, yeah, right. Okay, fine, let's just play. Remember, with play, there's no right, no wrong. We're just playing pretend here. But try it on for size and see how it feels to you. Because the left brain's going to want to take that, run it through the old database and say, baloney. That could never be. So just unplug, step back, and say, you know what? We're just gonna imagine and play here. So it's okay. It's not, just relax. We're just gonna daydream a little bit. It's okay. So what we're doing is, by doing this, is like taking a kaleidoscope and just one click to a different direction. All those same pieces of glass are in there. They're arranged differently to give us a different view. So what if we can do that? So just stop for a moment. Take a breath into the brain and give yourself permission to play with this. Just give yourself permission. Okay. So when we start looking at this kind of thing, and we start looking at our scenarios and our lineages and our life and what's going on and what we want to work on and what bugs us about our lives and ourselves and all that stuff, there's so much more going on there than we realize. And this came to me in a download. I've been listening to some teachings by Stan Grof. He's the MD psychiatrist who created holotropic breathwork and even coined the term holotropic. But for some reason, he wasn't even talking about this. But all of a sudden, I got this awareness that there are like 7 levels of lineages that are programmed into our beings, into our bodies, our minds, our emotions, our energy fields. And 7 of them. And we could never pick them apart and work on them individually. It's just impossible. So what we're dealing with, the programming, the imprinting, the patterning that's in us as we know ourselves right here, right now, sitting where we're sitting. We've got the postnatal, everything that has happened since you were born. We've got the prenatal, that which was happening in the womb. We've got the family heritage, the ancestral lineages that are being passed down, that we say are encoded in the DNA from both mother and father. All of it is encoded here in every cell of our bodies. Then we have our soul's incarnational lineage, our past lifetimes, all the aspects of the dimensional aspects of our soul that are working. We've got mass consciousness, the culture, the religion, all that's going on in our world now. We've got the transpersonal, which is like a step beyond that, which is sort of the mythic and the archetypal of a lot of people use the ancient gods and goddesses from Roman Greece as that, but the more, it's even transpersonal of masculine, feminine, religion, sex, gender, a culture, just kind of on a bigger, more massive level, again, morphic fields of influence and power. And then beyond that, so number 7 is your soul contract. So your soul contract is not just about postnatal. It's all 7 of those things that we're working on. And when I saw that, I realized, and I was going to have a client come here, I'm thinking, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? And the awareness was that everything from all 7 of those lineages that are encoded into our being is showing up in our lives just as they are. Everything we need to know and work on, I don't like that term, but everything that's there comes from those 7 streams. And it comes through 7 layers of our energy body and 7 chakras. So now when I do healing work with people, when I do a breath session and here, all I have to do is put out into the quantum. See, this is where this big stuff comes in. I shoot it into the quantum like a pebble. 777. And it's like, got it. So whatever I do, whatever I say here, whatever we do here, 777. And it's almost like those numbers stand for more than they actually mean. They're not like hard numbers. They're sort of symbolic numbers of everything beyond that we don't know. And so it expands the work. So again, the quantum thing, it's more than just this little package sitting here and more than just our little lives and our little houses and what we do. It's limitless and it's immense and it's eternal. So feel the expansion of that. Let the energy of that go out. That this is the magnitude of what you actually are doing simply by doing the work that's in front of you right now, of dealing with whatever issue is in your face right now. You are working at that magnitude. Let that sink in. We can't, in a way, let it sink in. But this is what has overcome me the last 2 days. And may do so again. This is the work of the ages. The work that each of you, just living your lives in a very ordinary sense, is repatterning and reprogramming what it means to be human and changing the frequencies and energies and patterns of all that is. Each of you, every time you set that heart intention, every time you drop into your heart, you are throwing a pebble into the quantum fabric, into that ocean of possibility, and you are bringing forth something new. That's what you're doing. So never, ever, ever downplay your struggle, your fears, the parts of you that are hiding in the closet, that don't want to be bothered yet. Do not downplay them. Simply your honoring of that wound that's behind your heart, in your heart, that's another pebble. You're honoring it now. You're not beating it up. You're not beating yourself up for being so whatever. That's another pebble. And that's raining down. Remember the scenario of the cloud cover that limits us, that keeps us from fully accessing the magnificence and limitlessness that we are. That, those pebbles that you throw out there, that is dissolving the heaviness, the programming that has kept the human race in enslavement to these kinds of things for however long, we don't even know. That's the magnitude of what we're doing. So Oh, take a breath and a drink. So honor that in yourselves. You feel that? Feel it and appreciate it and give yourselves credit for being here, for still being here. Credit. Okay, so, gosh. So how do we begin then? And you know what I'm going to say. I actually coined a thing. NBC. Neutral, breathe, compassion. NBC. So pulling back. And your homework this week is to take a look at some of the soul contracts. Now, I do want to say something here too, that sometimes a soul contract doesn't have to be painful and hard and negative. It's like, I want to come in and find out what it's like to make a lot of money. I want to come in. This time, I get to come in and feel what it feels like to be a successful businesswoman or whatever, or an artist, or to have a wonderful relationship, all kinds of things, or to learn all kinds of things. So the good parts of your life are part of your soul contract too. You wrote all kinds of things in there, not just icky stuff, not just hard stuff, but good stuff too. And so as you're looking at this, and I want you to spend some time with this weekend or this week coming up, kind of pull back and just kind of let yourself scan as if your life was like a movie or a book. And so as if you were writing a review or a book report of your life, what major themes do you notice? If an English teacher assigned you, a book report to do, what were the major themes you identified through this work? So just kind of pull back, do the head heart thing again so that your higher self can come in and help you pick them out. You don't need to nitpick and microscopically, and for God's sake, don't go into judgment. Just notice that things that have repeated themselves through your lifetime, and just very calmly just note them, write them down somewhere, and just identify it, whether it's relationship or money or whatever it is, abandonment. So yeah, so abandonment, always feeling wrong, feeling stuck or trapped, relationships, success, the lack of it, the fear of it, unworthiness. So next week, we're actually going to go into how some of these themes have disguised themselves in very socially acceptable attire as survival strategies. And we're going to kind of look at those things. So when we go into it that way, it almost makes it not quite personal. And so when you can pull back and get neutral, you're not in your own personality. You are allowing your higher self to have access to your brain and mind. So you're thinking and observing through your higher self, or your higher self is observing through your humanity. So this is an example of how we become transformed, how our minds become transformed. Jesus said that in the New Testament somewhere, or maybe the epistle, I don't know. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're renewing our minds, using them in a different way. So just notice that. Go into that neutral heart space, benevolent, kind, gentle neutrality. And you may even have some things that are popping up now, like, oh yeah, bam, got that one. And that's fine. Just make a little note of it. And then just spend some time this week kind of observing how that is. You may feel some emotion come up, but stay and feel into that emotion as if you were holding a crying child on your lap, and let it play out. Let it play out. Bring that orphan home. Bring that orphan home. and let it feel safe. So remember, no forcing, because forcing is going to drive it in even deeper, because once again, it wasn't safe to come out. So we don't want that. Very much respect where your heart is. And just as you look at that, you maybe see the scenario, just touch it lightly. Don't go digging into it. Just touch it lightly. Yeah, I see this thing. Oh, yeah, that has happened over and over again. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And just note it. Just surfacey stuff here. That's all you need. So, realizing that we're reclaiming territory here. Once we see it, we can acknowledge it without judging it. And then we can start to be open to being made whole. The orphan parts come home. We've all been let down. We all have been emotionally abandoned to one degree or another. All of us. All of us. And I've apologized to my daughter, because when she was a baby, I was so freaking scared that I didn't enjoy. I was just so afraid. And so to that degree, she wasn't getting the emotional nurturing that she needed from me, because I was so locked up in my fear. I didn't get it from my mother, and she didn't get it from her mother. So we stop this lineage right now. We collapse it like a line of dominoes. And the fact that she's here and I can apologize to her for that, and we feel each other's pain in a way that heals. That heals. And in the quantum, we can go back. I can go back to when she was that infant and hold her. So that heals her now. Yeah. I know, huh? Yeah, me too, kid. Whoa, boy. Yeah. What a privilege, huh? What a privilege.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Whoa, big one. Yeah, I've been in tears for 3 days now. Oh my gosh. So, a word here. We're not going to throw open the entire Pandora's box at one time. We don't need to. Our souls are very gentle. As if we just simply say, I'm willing to take a look at these things. I'm willing to take this step. Soul says, okay, good, okay. Again, not being hard on ourselves. Our egos, it's the programming. The programming of being hard on yourself is what we're here to heal. So you don't get over being hard on yourself by being harder on yourself. You cut yourself some slack. And by allowing your soul to come in and show you, we're going to do that exercise in a little bit. It teaches you how to be kind, because you feel how your soul feels about you. And once you get that, then you are able to treat yourself that way and reparent yourself and re-nurture yourself and fill up those empty, orphaned places and bring everything home. And as we bring ourselves here, as we heal our lives, see, everything is a metaphor. Nothing means what it means. Nothing's about what it looks like it's about. It's much bigger than that. Much bigger than that. It's simply the mechanism and the tool and the curriculum, like the word problem in math. Is it real? In one sense it is, and in one sense it's not. It's real in the sense that we have to do it in order to pass the course. Or in college, when they give you a case study that you have to solve. Is it real? Well, no, but you got to do it and pretend it's real in order to get the knowledge and pass the course. That's what our lives are. That's all this is. And in one sense, we're taking it way too seriously. So playing more with these ideas. What if my soul is out there watching this whole thing and I'm, it's just kind of dreaming this whole thing up? How can we make it easier? How can we make it more pleasant? How can we make it softer, more comfortable, and more delicious? That is my favorite spiritual word, delicious. That's how we want life to be. And we can have it that way too. So that's why learning to let go of judgment, dropping the weight of your focus out of the head is so important. Your brain and nervous system have scars. We're scarred because of all this stuff. So we're healing the scars. So the voice you hear as a child, and I may have said this before, becomes your inner voice. And so everything that you heard, we take what we heard as our truth. And we repeat it to ourselves. But yet now, because you're all here, because we're all here, our souls are calling us to move forward into a different way of being. Basically, our souls are saying, you're ready to graduate now, kids. You don't have to stay there. You're ready to move to the next big thing. So that's a wonderful thing. The fact that you're feeling this stirring and even being interested in being in this program shows that your soul is just kind of like, yeah, come on. We're going to play. We've got lots of fun to have together. So come on, let's move out of this stuff. Come on, we can do it. So that's where we are. And so this is why I took you out into the quantum weirdness, kind of flying out. So think about Scrooge. Think about, how his soul, whatever, came and got Scrooge, and they took this journey and looked at scenarios. He saw that there was a bigger picture. So I took you on a journey of the immensity of what we are, and yet this is a microcosm of that. And we get in touch with that by simply living out this curriculum that is your life and your identity. And it's not a life sentence. It's just something that you are going to move through. I think Pam could probably tell you that I'm not anything like I was before. I don't even look the same. And that's not just because I'm older. Very cool. So we are not broken. We do not need to be fixed. We are simply evolving. What worked before doesn't work now because we're evolving. Your old rotary phone or your dial-up connection didn't work. It worked fine because that's all we had. Doesn't work now. So we're moving on. So congratulations for listening to your soul and for taking the steps that you've taken. And be very gentle with how quickly or slowly you need to take the steps. We are time capsules, and our souls are awakening us, and in their own time. We get it when we get it. And it's all perfect. So lighten up, people. So I will say, as you go through this week, that one of the hardest things, and I struggled with this, and it took even a couple of years for me to stop, not squirm inside over some of the memories when I realized, and I awakened, and I realized that I recognized choice points in my life, and I couldn't take them. And I realized things I wasn't ready to step into. And some of them, God, really, really hard to face. And yet at that time, I didn't know I had a choice. And so in effect, that choice was not available to me as I was then. Now looking back, I grieve over the time that was, I want to say wasted, and you'll probably say it too. It wasn't, but it was like another turn around the block until I finally was able to make the choice. And some of the opportunities I turned down, why I didn't know I could step into that. Took a while. That's the hardest thing, is to forgive yourself for not knowing, for just not knowing at the time. So I'm warning you. So again, be very gentle, very compassionate with yourselves. Because sometimes when you wake up, like when your hand falls asleep and it's been numb for a long time, when it starts, feeling comes back and the pins and needles come, it hurts. So again, gentle, kind, gentle, no forcing, no beating yourself up, because to the extent that you do, those little fragmented, scared parts of you that are peeping out to be healed, they just got it, you gave them a space, they come out, bam, they go back in again. So gentle, gentle, gentle. So one of the things, when something comes up, you look at the theme, you say, okay, this is curriculum. It's not a sentence. It's not who I am. It's something I came in to learn through, grow through, and experience, and I can be done with it at whatever time. And so NVC, neutral, breath, and compassion for that. That begins to release the curriculum. Just those 3 steps allows the curriculum, once you see it as curriculum, it no longer needs to be there. It can go just like that. You'll have little tendrils of it start to come back, but you'll recognize it for what it is, and you breathe and you look and say, okay. So when something comes up, a theme comes up, or a struggle comes up, a memory of something, and you look at it, you say, okay, do I want to keep this in my life? Do I want to still work with this more? Do I want to play with this more? Do I still want to have this as part of my life? Feel your response, and either yes or no. Period. Do I want this or not? Yes or no. No buts. Stop right there. Your brain's going to want to go, yeah, but, shh. Yes or no. Shh. Let your yes or your no reverberate throughout the quantum field. Let it reverberate through the universe. It's all you have to do at this point. Do I want to continue? Do I want to bring this into my life? Yes, no, period, and silence. Try that. Play with it. You will get a lot of yeah buts coming up. That's okay. You can write them out. Just don't get into the dialogue again. Let it sit as it is. And then it becomes the universe's problem. And then you'll start noticing what comes to you, what opportunities. That's how you start shifting, start recognizing, and then be able then to start rewriting. When you recognize what does feel good, what makes your heart go, you have the authority and the responsibility now, because you've graduated. You're a big kid. It's like graduating from college. Now you got to go to work. What do you want to do? You've got the learning. What do you want to do? How do you want to call this? Like in baseball, it ain't nothing till the umpire calls it. Well, you are the umpire of your life. Keep or let it go. That's all. So remember that we're not just that your brain and your nervous system, your genes, the cells of your body are all engaged in this process. It's not just cognitive. You are changing the cellular structure of your body. The DNA is not hardwired. It is the antenna for pulling in the morphic fields with which you are resonating. And so as you let these things go, your DNA starts to change. And we'll talk more about that as we move on. So you are cellularly changing yourself. That's why disease ideas shift and aging shifts. All of that is coming into play with this process. That's why we're spending 5 weeks on it. So your total perfected essence, that higher self, understands all of this. And when you decide you are complete with a curriculum, that is completing, that truly is bringing that part of you home. And then you are in partnership with your higher self. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So homework. I'll send you some things. I'll remind you of this. But take some time. Practice the brain relaxation. Practice dropping your inner focus into your heart and just breathe very quietly and gently, not forcing. Notice things that you might frequently say to yourself. And you will start to notice. Oh, this is hard. I don't get it. I'm never blah, blah, blah. You know, the self-talk. Notice the themes that pop up frequently in your own self-talk. And then take some time to observe and notice what pops up of noticing major themes of your life. Write them down. I'd love to hear from you and share them because we're all helping each other. And I dare say there's a lot of commonality. Sit with a notebook or a paper or your laptop and start writing out things like how you would like to feel in your life. Things that you'd like to bring into your life to feel. You may not know specific scenarios, but you want to feel. I want to feel safe. I want to feel comfortable. I want to have work that doesn't feel like work. I want to live in a place that has some space around it. Just notice whatever shows up that feels good for you and just write it down, make a list. Don't censor it, don't edit it, just don't even think about, well, yeah, but I couldn't, I know I can't, and I'm too old and I don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. Forget it, just write it down. If it feels good, write it down. Period. That's all that we're doing at this point. Then notice how those lineage patterns show up in your life. Notice how you're like your mother or your father, or, you know, how things show up. Mass consciousness, all of that. Just notice if they show up, and I'll send them to you again. We'll talk more about them next 2 weeks, I think. So if you get into that connected state first by calming the brain, you know, just settling in, things will pop into your head because then your brain is in partnership with your higher self. So they'll pop in. Okay. So that simple act starts actually deactivating the patterns in the brain and the energy field. So just by looking at them and recognizing them and seeing them for curriculum starts to de-energize them and starts taking them apart. You've broken the code. You've passed the class. And when you can look at them and be in that kind, neutral space, you're through. You made it. You've made it. You've come home to yourself. It's a beautiful thing. So I have a feeling that some of this stuff, for some of you, has already released from your energy field. That it's just kind of like waiting, because it's a trickle-down effect, Once the energy is released, then you can start working on it with the thoughts, the emotions, and the physicality. So just know that it's a trickle down. And so it may be just showing up in your body and in your life right now as kind of a last blast before it actually exits your life completely, because the energy to it has already been deactivated. It's kind of like a chicken with its head cut off. That the muscle and nerve response is still acting as if, it's running around with no head. So that's kind of how some of these things may actually be for some of you. And I suspect for many of you in different ways. So that's very, very cool. All right. Whoosh. Wow, that was big stuff. I wanted to do a practice, but I want to check on time with all of you and ask for feedback, comments, questions, concerns. So raise hand or speak up.
So, holy guacamole, mama. I mean, Mike is in the background. Why are you crying? I'm like, oh, just go away.
Oh boy,
but
oh boy.
It's so interesting because I've been thinking about a lot of this week. I had, some opportunities, try and make some extra money. And the same stuff keeps coming up, but this time I'm aware of it.
Cool.
Which is good.
Yeah. But
then I kind of think back. It's like, okay, well, that's how that goes, and I'm just going to do this again.
Oh.
I'm not going to follow through, and so it's just recognizing those patterns, which I am recognizing, and then stopping it and saying, okay, that's not what I want. I want to be successful and accomplish something.
Right.
So all these things, it's just like, yeah, okay, so it's affirmation that, that you're on the right path because it's already showing up.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So then you can then say, okay, if I'm going to repattern here and I'm going to heal this, I recognize it. Okay, very good. Release it. Okay, show me a step I can take.
Yeah, because it's now that I've recognized that, and it's like, no, I'd like to move forward.
Right.
And I would like to accomplish this. How do I do that?
Yeah, because you can't just jump in and accomplish the whole thing, because that's
right.
Overwhelmed. But okay, universe, soul. All right, we're in this partnership now. Okay, what is one step I can take that will start to bring me forward? What do I feel safe doing one thing?
Okay.
That's easy to do. That seems, oh yeah, okay, I can do that.
Okay.
That's all. And then the next, and the next, and the next. So yeah, real easy, real gentle.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't throw, just because a kid learns 1 and 1 is 2, they don't say, oh, okay, now here's a calculus problem. Solve it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I find myself in a situation, and I'm sorry if other people, I'll give them a second. I love attention. I want to do a great job, and I want that recognition, and it's awesome. And then I shut down. It's like I sabotage. It's like, okay, Pam, you were great. You could do these things. And then I'm like, yeah. And I have all these plans. And then no, I can't.
Yeah.
And I shut down, and I don't want to. My words are, I don't want to, for some reason, because I do. So anyway, this is kind of really big.
Yeah, it is big. It is absolutely big, because we all do that. I've done it. I mean, honest people, the fact that I'm doing this.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And this is like a box of my life. I feel like, not that I'm planning to leave anytime soon.
Please don't.
This is like a legacy. If I had left without stepping out and talking like this and sharing what I know, what I've learned, what I experienced, I would feel like I was, shortchanging I had to do this.
Yeah.
I had to do this.
My life would have been completely different had you not, I think.
Wow.
No pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. So recognizing that voice that came out that said, oh, I can't, I don't want to. That was one of your little wounded parts that showed up out of the closet. It's like a voice from the closet. And so then it's okay, little Pammy, 2 years old or 1 year old, hiding in the closet because of something that happened. Take little Pammy and put her on your lap and say, it's okay, we can do this together. You don't have to be afraid. And it's not going to be that hard. We'll have fun. So you sit her on your lap and you talk to her and you say, let's just have fun with this and let's just play with it. And we can do it together. So you kind of make it again a little game and you make little Pammy feel safe. Good. Anybody else?
I tell you what, Pam, you could have been talking about me. Yeah, I completely related to what you had to share.
Yeah, good.
Big and scary, but it's amazing that we're recognizing these things.
Yeah.
That we're aware of this and that we can do something about it. And that
Right.
It's huge.
That's it. Notice what you notice. Just notice it. You don't have to do a thing about it. Just notice it and breathe. Right. Anybody else want to share?
Hi, Meredith. Shelby. So that I can't stuff, when they were first talking about it, I thought, oh, I never think that. You know, I'm an I can kind of girl. And it brought up actually a thought of something that I have been intimidated about doing. It's about talking to some people, business discussions. I'm a little afraid, what if they say no, or what if they don't respond well? And it goes back to the childhood thing of, oh, what if they don't like me, or the times that they didn't like me. Yeah. So there it is. I mean, this is big girl business negotiations, and I'm afraid to make a call because they might not like me. Yeah. I in the recognition of it, it could evaporate, but I did like that one thing that you did or mentioned earlier about going back in the quantum field and redoing the events. So I can pretty easily tie to some childhood events, I think, that are the root of those kind of feelings. So in a meditation, working in the quantum, if I'm going back to redo it, can I redo their part too, like the kids that were mean to me? Or can I only redo my part in the interaction?
You can do it 2 ways. You can go back to just before the event. You can remember the event and then take a step back before it happened, like you're walking into the playground or the room or whatever. And you can change the scenario there, because in every possible scenario of every second of our lives is still in the quantum. So you can go back to before it happened, grab her.
Me.
Yeah.
Her.
Yeah.
Not that other bitch. That was mean to me.
No, you grab yourself. And you actually don't grab, you link up with her, like energetically from where you are now. You link up with her right before the thing happened. And you connect and bring her into your life now.
Before it happened.
You can do it before it happened. The other way,
she's undamaged.
Correct. The other way, if you want, and you could do it both ways, just for fun and stuff, and insert your adult self into the scenario where it was happening. And you, as an adult, go to little Shelby and you pick her up. And you hold her and you bring her home and you get her the heck out of there. And you feel her arms around your neck and you feel your arms around her and you tell her, I've got you. It's okay. It's not true. You're fine. I love you and I've got you. And come see the life we have now.
Yeah.
So you can do that too.
Okay, and then when you said about 5 minutes before, the flash that I got is, well, basically before I walked into that room, even at 4 years old or 5 years old, it was still, I think what you used was the word like a choice point, choice.
Choice point.
So, a what?
A choice point.
Choice point. Okay, so that little child had a choice point, and of course, our frequency is set that we're actually drawn to those situations that are going to give us this pain because we set that scenario up in the quantum. So I get that. So what if I use that as a choice point, even as a little 5-year-old, if I looked at that and said, well, no, I'm not going in that room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that not going to heal it because I actually kind of needed to go there to get where I am now?
Both. And I think that at that age, it's a little much to expect a 5-year-old to have that as a choice point. You know, a little much to expect that.
So the adult goes in.
So, you know, now the adult goes into the room. You can just sort of sit and do a visualization for yourself and go into the room and get her out of there and bring her forward into this life and show her that she's okay. The other thing is that you may well have been rebalancing some karma through that.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was, you know, something that karmically was needed to happen. And so once you neutralize it then and bring it into the present, all of that gets collapsed and made whole. And it actually makes your soul more whole, not just your human.
So the having of it and the healing of it is better than the not going in the room at all, the not having it. Not having the...
Yeah. Because think about all the times we have absolutely no idea the things that we didn't do.
Yeah.
If I say there's every possible, you know, limitless possible scenarios in every second, we've had some pretty good seconds. You know, not everyone was traumatic, obviously.
Yeah.
So we were saved from those others. So yeah, you know, maybe needed that, but you're reclaiming it and you're bringing it home.
Well, that's really good homework because I've been feeling like it's getting close to time to make these calls and that there must be a reason why I haven't done it in the past. And I think it's because clearing this first is a really important.
Yay.
And I imagine I'll then have the impulse to make the calls at the right moment.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Cool. Very cool.
Okay. Thank you. This will be very fun.
Yeah. What else? Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Well, it's 7:30 and I may go ahead and record something for you because I wanted to give you all the experience of a meditation to bring the sense of partnership with your higher self. I want you to feel the presence of your higher self actually in and around your body. Some of you, I think, have had this experience with me. But I think what I'm going to do is record that and get it out to you all so that you have it as a meditation tool. Because once you feel the palpable presence of your own soul, it changes everything, because then you know that you've come home. You know where home base is. And so I'll have you have that so you can work with it this week on your own time in your own leisurely way. And that will help you entrain these frequencies to be able to see what we've talked about and not be stuck in the old patterns, that you could actually see the themes, see the curriculums, because you're in a different place. And that way, the whole thing gets much more released, much more easily. And remembering also that everybody is evolving and awakening in their own time. some very, very, very deep wounds and patterns are going to take longer to want to peek their little heads out, because they need more time to feel safe. And so we'll just give them all the time that they need. You're never late, you're never behind, you're never out of sync. The universe has got this. We've got it. The universe has got us. And the universe is not scared. Your soul is not scared. The universe and our souls know exactly where we are, and we're perfectly safe. So with that, beloveds, I wish you all a really good night and a good week, and let me hear from you. I'm going to clarify because I can't remember what weekend I said. Oh, Carrie, are you here?
No, but this is Debbie, and I just sent her a text to see what weekend, so.
Okay, well, I have it on an email. She emailed me, and I thought I had it, and then I forgot it. So I will send out that, and as I said before, some of you came on tomorrow, I'm going to go talk to this friend of mine and look at the space. It has the whole lower level of his house, big house, that can accommodate some people unless you want a private hotel room. And we can meet there, or we can meet at my house and just sleep there. And see if the space is going to work, in which case you would have absolutely zero lodging and space rental expenses, which is enormous. All you have to do is get here, pay the fee for the retreat, and contribute to food. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
She just sent me a text. It's May 21st and May 27th are her weddings.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess we'll do it the earlier weekend, 11 through something 14. And Pam, can you get here? Find out if you can get here then too. So we'll talk more about that on the Facebook thing. So blessings everybody, and have a beautiful night and a beautiful week, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mom.